At a certain point in all the chaos, fear-mongering, insanity, violence, death, and destruction, I can only just laugh at the absurdity that is our reality, because for a long time, people joked that we entered some strange parallel timeline with President Trump and everything just is ridiculous. Okay, let me slow down. The other day, Donald Trump delivered a speech at CPAC. And in his speech, he alluded to the fact that he may be running again in 2024. He wants to get rid of a ton of Republicans who turn their back on him. And people were jumping up and like hugging and high-fiving. Probably the funniest moment of the night when Trump said, who knows, I may have to defeat him a third time. And he said a third time because Trump is asserting he did win this time. When he said that, in the live stream, you can see a bunch of people like jumping, they're hugging, they're high-fiving, they're yelling and celebrating. These people love Donald Trump. I want to talk to you about what Donald Trump said, because he said a lot of things and he may actually run. In one article, they said he called Melania the future first lady. Now, does that mean that Trump is going to run and he expects to win and he will be back in the White House? So they say. And so goes CNN with quite possibly the funniest headline I have ever seen. Trump unleashes new threat to American democracy. This is so insane and over the top. I did not believe it was real. I saw people tweeting this. I started busting out laughing at the top of my lungs. I didn't believe it. And then I was like, no way. I Googled it. There it is from CNN. Analysis by Stephen Cullison, CNN. Trump unleashes new threat to American democracy. Jeez, these people, they're so desperate. You know why? CNN's ratings tanked 40% when Joe Biden was inaugurated. And regular people are just so over this, and I can feel it deep within my soul. I'm sorry. I don't know how many tweets I can take, how many more tweets I can take from Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson when they're pointing out liberal hypocrisy. I'm like, man, we've been here for 4 years. I know. And I felt the same way. I've talked about this many times where I'm just like, how many times am I going to do a video on like college cancels professor for woke nonsense? Here we go again. The same thing. Are we trapped on repeat? Like it was exciting the first time it happened, I guess. And we were like, whoa, that's got to stop. And now here we go again. But I'll tell you this. It is an escalation. It is seemingly getting worse. Like I mentioned, CNN's ratings tanked. So here we go. CNN writes one of the most bombastic headlines ever. And they're acting as though what Trump is doing is different from what he did in December or January or November, for that matter. Their ratings took a hit. They see an opportunity. We knew this was going to happen. Trump would, if Trump went on stage and was like, just waved and said, thank you, America. Have a nice day. And that was it. They'd be like, he's back. The world's ending. Here's what they write. Donald Trump has no remorse about the deadly violence he incited with his lies about a stolen election and his uprising against the U.S. Congress. Jeez. The deadly violence he incited. Okay, let's hold on a second. I mean, every reasonable adult thinks that the whole storming the Capitol thing was dumb. It was crazy to me to see that after the Capitol got stormed, there were a lot of conservative personalities like, what do you mean? And they're like praising it. And I'm like, wait, why would you praise that? First of all, people died. Second of all, nothing got accomplished but hurting Donald Trump. But I digress. The people who died, there was someone who had a heart attack. I think there was a stroke and someone got trampled and a woman got shot. So it was deadly violence for sure. But I think the deadly violence mostly has to do with the woman, Ashley Babbitt. And I think CNN needs to chill out. This much, here's what they write. This much was clear when the ex-president put the Republican Party on notice on Sunday that he intends to use his hold on its grassroots to try to suppress the vote heading into the presidential election in 2024. Wait, what? In which he hinted he might run. In his first public remarks since leaving the White House, he also dangerously lashed out at Supreme Court justices for failing to intervene to throne the election he clearly lost to President Joe Biden. Quote, they should be ashamed of themselves for what they've done to our country. The Supreme Court didn't have the guts or the courage to do anything about it. Trump fumed in an authoritarian speech at the Conservative Political Action Committee in Orlando, Florida, referring to false fraud claims thrown out by multiple judges. You're going to include the part where Trump went into a rant about standing, meaning the lawsuits were thrown out because the people suing, the courts claimed, weren't the injured parties, essentially. But I digress. I don't care about rehashing all of that. We're talking about the future, baby. We're talking about Donald Trump possibly running in 2024, not 2020. That's long since passed. Trump even said Joe Biden will be president for another 4 years and then he's going to lose. And then all the Republicans cheered, and all the conservatives, I don't want to say Republicans, but they all cheered and clapped. Now, Trump also said, no new political party. There's not going to be a Patriot Party. We've got the Republican Party, and it will be unified. And then he went into a rant about getting rid. Well, I shouldn't say rant, but then he went into it about the rhinos, the Republicans in name only. Now, it's Donald Trump. I love this. You know what the thing is about CNN saying this authoritarian speech? If they want Trump to be portrayed as like this militaristic leader, this fascistic far-right military man, Trump is an absurd businessman, reality TV, real estate guy. Okay? Now, he's done pretty good things. I voted for him. I would have preferred him over Joe Biden for a lot of reasons. But it's interesting because a lot of people point out, Tim, you're not really left wing if you'd vote for Trump. I'm like, dude, what makes you think voting for Joe Biden will get you left wing anything? Nothing. There's one of the best meme. I gotta say this, gold award, whatever, gold medal for the best meme ever. I posted it on Instagram. It's the meme where the guy, there's like two buttons and the guy's sweating because he doesn't know which one to pick. It says vaporizing Syrians, $2,000 checks. And then it's Dr. Robotnik from the Sonic movie gleefully pressing the red button with Joe Biden over his name. It's perfect. It's a meta meme because we know the meme is supposed to be the guy's confused about which one he should do, but not Joe Biden. He knows he doesn't want to give you that money. He wants to drop the bombs instead. So there you go. Look, Donald Trump is no saint when it comes to war in the Middle East, but I still think there are a lot of things better about him. But more importantly, CNN could make Trump out to be a clown. You know, they've done that, I guess. But they're so obsessed with making him out to be this fascistic dictator set on taking over the world because they want the ratings. They want you scared. They want the regular people who watch CNN to go, oh, Trump's not leaving. He's coming back. Yeah, it's going to get worse. Look at this ridiculous and insane headline. Trump unleashes new threat. All right, well, here's what really happened. Trump teases 2024 run at CPAC. Former president calls Melania the future first lady and says, I'll beat Dems for a third time. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump did not beat the Democrats for a second time. Now, I know I can already hear people screaming that's not true and they believe in Trump and they think he really won and March 4th is coming. No. I'm sorry. Listen, I don't care if you think that there was an election, the election was rigged or it wasn't rigged. The point is Joe Biden is in the White House. Whatever you think the game was, be it some nefarious plot or a standard election, Donald Trump is not the president. So he can say he won a second time and he wants to win a third time. Fine, by all means he can. I think it's mostly about boosting morale and maintaining his status as the kingmaker or the king himself. A lot of people love it. Trump knows how to play to the crowd. But I'll say it again. The Democrats beat Trump. I guess Trump doesn't want to come out and say it. And it's probably because he's going to run again. This is what I think. I think the main reason Trump won't come out and say, I lost, is because he wants to maintain that fighting spirit. The reason he's saying he did win is because he wants to tell everybody, we don't worry, we won. We're going to win officially next time. And I think he's saying that to boost morale. Now, about that future first lady remark, a lot of people are saying that's evidence he is going to run. Perhaps. I don't think so. Let me read a little bit. Because I don't know if they get to the point, because I want to make sure they have the quote. He says, do you miss me yet? Blah, blah, blah. There was a point where he mentioned, well, I'll just read some. He says, we're not starting new parties. We have the Republican Party, he said. Wouldn't it be brilliant? Let's start a new party, divide our vote so we can never win. No, we're not interested in that. Well, I'll tell you this. I still think it's a good idea because Trump might lose a ton of Republican voters no matter what. However, I do suppose that if Donald Trump runs in 2024, the Republican Party will keep all of those votes. I absolutely think so. Trump's remarks came after rumors that he was considering creating his own political party, which is not true. And, you know, something new to our ears, cancel culture, he joked, blah, blah, blah. All right, let me just get to the future first lady part. He wasn't saying that she would be the future first lady. He was talking specifically about when he came down the escalator, because he had made a point about when Mexico sends their people, they're not sending their best. He said it again. He basically said the same thing. Now, he said, they went after me for this when I came down that escalator with the future first lady. And everyone thought he was saying future first lady to imply future from here. No, I think he was saying in the past, I was on the escalator with the woman who would become the first lady. I don't think it means he's definitively running again. I think Donald Trump is going to be, 81 years old in 2024? That would be absolutely insane if he were to run. I mean, think about it. He'd end up being like 85 by the time he left his second term. So that would be absolutely unprecedented. I don't think he's going to run. I don't think so. But I will say I'm not 100%. I'm not even 52%. I'm like 50.1% leaning towards I don't think he'll run. I know I'm sitting there right on the fence. But the reason is only one reason, his age. We don't know where he will be at that, when he's 81. He is a large and obese man, but maybe. I mean, let's be honest. Donald Trump is spry. No joke. For his age, he actually looks really good. There's only like one other person I've ever seen. I'm like, how are they so old and like fine? It's William Shatner. Like, how old is that guy? He's like almost 90 or something. And he looks like he's in his 60s. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Now, Trump roasted the Supreme Court in his speech. He said they should be ashamed for not having the guts to overturn the election, and hammers Biden, big tech, internal GOP enemies, and cancel culture, and trails a triumphant return to the White House. Let's talk about them rhinos. Get rid of them all. Trump urges GOP to purge 17 members who voted to impeach him, including Mitt Romney and Liz Cheney. And I love the most. He mocked Liz Cheney as a warmonger. Listen, Donald Trump upped the drone strikes and changed the reporting on drone strikes. And I have to wonder about this. Trump was trying to get our troops out of the Middle East, and they kept blocking him at every step. He was trying. He apparently ordered the Pentagon to do it, and they refused. He ordered the I can't remember who he ordered, but he ordered the removal of American troops from Syria, and they admitted they lied to Trump and the American people in order to keep a substantial presence of U.S. troops in Syria. What just happened a couple days ago? Joe Biden bombed Syria. While there's been numerous reports about troop movements in Syria specifically, Western sources, of course, denying the troop movement, saying it's routine, and then Joe Biden dropped some bombs. Listen, I wonder if the reason Donald Trump upped the drone strikes was to maintain pressure in these regions while getting us out. So kind of like, when you're like tying a knot and then you do the first, you want to tie a bow, you have someone hold down the lace so that it doesn't come loose. I wonder if Donald Trump was using drones as a way to maintain pressure so he could get the troops out and then maybe and then we're done. Regardless, it doesn't matter what I think because I honestly don't know. I can only tell you this. Donald Trump upped drone strikes. It's a bad thing. I'm not a fan of it. But I also like to point out, man, if we knew everything that was going on over there, we all might have different opinions. So it's really hard to definitively know what we should or shouldn't do when none of us are really experts. And I'll put it this way. I'm like, come on, you guys know I'm like very, very anti-war. Would love for the U.S. to focus on itself, spend this money on its own infrastructure, and just get to work in America instead of building roads and schools in foreign countries. But I think about it this way. For every liberal that has screamed about gun control without ever having actually used a gun or taken a safety training course, I worry about every single anti-war individual who's never even done a smidgen of research on the Middle East, nor talked to the troops who were there. So I've certainly listened to many individuals who have said we should be over there. I just humbly disagree. And it comes down to people like, Dan Crenshaw and Tulsi Gabbard. When Tulsi says we shouldn't and Dan says we should, I'm like, I am biased in favor of ending this stuff because I think we're wasting too much money over there and not here, which is one of the big messages Trump was bringing. Not necessarily, I don't know for sure if he was going to accomplish that, but hey, the Abraham Accords were wonderful. And now people are scared that Joe Biden is going to upend all of this peace. We have 4 historic peace agreements. When Tulsi Gabbard says we don't need to be doing this, we don't need to be there, I'm biased in her favor, and that's why I supported her. I don't think we need to be there. I think there are things we can do. And I've certainly talked with Republicans and conservatives who say they don't think she's completely correct, but they do think we can draw down a substantial amount of our forces and still maintain some kind of pressure to prevent a power vacuum. Maybe, maybe not. Well, anyway, I digress. Donald Trump wants to get rid of these. The Liz Cheney thing set me off, right? Because she is the warmonger. Donald Trump used his CPAC speech to demand a purge of his political rivals. Rivals? No. Mitt Romney is not a rival to Donald Trump. Mitt Romney is not even a thorn in Trump's butt. Mitt Romney is a mosquito buzzing around and getting in Trump's way a little bit. That's about it. Because they're not successful. The former president addressed a conservative gathering in Orlando on Sunday afternoon in his first speech. We know this. He also sought revenge on the 17 Republicans, 7 senators, and 10 members of the House who voted to impeach him. All 17 were mentioned by Trump, with a 74-year-old reserving particular venom for Liz Cheney, who said earlier, wow, did I get Trump's age that wrong? So Trump would be 77 as he's campaigning. I was way off on that. I thought Trump was older. Okay, my bad. Trump would not be 81. Trump would be, I already know that all you guys commented like, Tim, you're wrong. Trump's younger. What? Yeah. You just had to wait a few minutes and the correction is right there. I think I confused Biden with Trump. Joe Biden's going to be 81. He's not going to be running against Trump. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Anyway, they say with a 74-year-old reserving particular venom for Liz Cheney, quote, instead of attacking me and more importantly, the voters of our movement, top establishment Republicans in Washington should be spending their energy in opposing Biden, Pelosi, Schumer, and the Democrats, Trump said. If Republicans do not stick together, the rhinos, Republicans in name only, that we're surrounded with will destroy the Republican Party. And the warmonger, the person who loves seeing our troops fighting, Liz Cheney, oh, bravo, Trump. I love it. You know, what's really funny is that many people brought up, where are the Democrat defectors? When Nancy Pelosi was trying to get the speakership, even AOC voted for her. Where are the defectors? Nah, sorry. The Republicans are split. That's just true. Even though the Democrats do have their fight and they are split, AOC will still, bend the knee for Nancy Pelosi and beg her. Beg. That's what I love about it. You see, Jimmy Dore, who is a leftist, podcaster and commentator, had no trouble calling out the Democratic establishment and saying, if Nancy Pelosi does not bring a floor vote for Medicare for all, don't vote for her. He was correct. I completely agree. Because what he was saying was, listen, they'll still vote for her, but listen, you have to stand strong. They'll still vote for her. McCarthy's not going to win. You just need to use the power you have as leverage. And they wouldn't do it. AOC is just like, I'm just going to give Nancy Pelosi. And she walked up to Nancy and said, please, Nancy, just tell me what to do because I'm so scared of you. They all fall in line. At least I can say this. Mitt Romney, as awful as he may be, has more of a spine than AOC. And wow, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? AOC will say all these progressive things, but then the moment Nancy Pelosi steps up, AOC says, yes, ma'am, I'll do whatever you say. Yeah, real bold. Trump said the good news was that she had been censured in her state of Wyoming, and her approval rating was falling. Her poll numbers have dropped faster than any human being I've ever seen. Hopefully they'll get rid of her with the next election, get rid of them all. I got to tell you, I would love to see a future where we withdraw our troops from the Middle East. We still have military bases in certain areas. We still have, aircraft carriers and I'm worried about a power vacuum. Don't get me wrong, but I'd love to see a future in which all of these resources are being brought to, say, areas like Flint. Now, my understanding is Flint did get its water fixed. That happened, I think, in December or around then. A lot of people have been messaging me that. But I just think about the crumbling infrastructure, the collapsing bridges, the broken roads, the potholes. And I'm like, imagine if we put that money into our own country. So what is this? I'll keep it simple. I don't think the people who run the country, run the United States, actually care all that much about it. Surprise, surprise, shocker, right? No, I think they extract resources from our labor to fund global projects to maintain this empire, as it were. I mean, think about it. We had this great conversation with Ethan Suplee on the show. You may know him. He's an actor on the Timcast IRL podcast. And he mentioned it's the petrodollar. That is it. America, you must buy oil in US dollars. So Americans can crank out as much debt as they want, so long as we have guns all over the place and force people to buy oil with our money, we will always be wealthy. And that's a sad reality. But I think about that and I think about what it's doing to this country. Young people who are lazy and entitled, it's disgusting. And it's not even just young people. I mean, boomers, of course, it's people in general. Lazy, entitled. They don't want to get up. They don't want to do work. They just want. You should give to me. Okay. I think everybody should do a little bit of hard work. I like the idea of universal health care. My challenge is always the authoritarianism of any system that would impose its will on other people and force them to pay for something. But I like the idea of universal health care. However, the problem is people who are unhealthy dragging the system down, and then you have someone who's very healthy and responsible paying the bills for someone who isn't. That's a challenge. Some people have said maybe the answer is then a calisthenics program where, you have to pass a physical in order to get access to the healthcare, or you have to pay a premium that other people don't. And if you're healthy, you pay way less or something like that. Maybe that might actually work, because then all the unhealthy people who, are sickly and want the healthcare will be paying more into the system. That might actually be a solution. But that might also be a bit authoritarian. Yeah, so that's the problem. How do you balance these things? Honestly, I don't know. Now, whether or not Donald Trump will actually run again is yet to be seen. I did get his age wrong. I understand that. Trump accuses Biden of being in the pocket of Beijing due to his very close personal relationship with China. Young girls and women are incensed. Trump slams Biden bid, he says, would allow transgender females to compete in women's sport. I believe this is an incorrect headline. It's Transgender Women is the correct term. I could be wrong. I'm just trying to make sure I get it right, because depending on who you ask, I'll give you a difference between males and females. This is something that will come up. And a lot of conservatives have said the one thing that Republicans failed to do was address the issue of the Equality Act and gender identity, because that would probably ignite a bunch of suburban votes. Maybe. Honestly, don't know. My only issue with all of this is, how do we actually guarantee the individual liberties of the trans community while, I guess, simmering down tensions and protecting the rights of biological females? The argument I've heard from the left tends to be that it doesn't matter if biological females are inconvenienced by this. And I'm like, dude, you can't sacrifice one protected group for another protected group. We have to figure this one out. So this may be a big issue for the Republicans, and it may be why Trump is bringing it up. And it may be that these rhino Republicans get kicked out. But I will tell you this. I'll wrap it all up. I'll wrap it up in a neat bow. There's one thing that's for sure. CNN will not pass up any opportunity to fearmonger and scream at the top of their lungs about stupid nonsense. Trump unleashes new threat to American democracy. Oh, here we go again. Trump's not going away. He's going to keep talking. He's going to keep speaking. He's going to be a kingmaker. He's going to get these rhinos booted out of the party. He's taken over. That's it. And they acknowledge it. But come on, calm down, dudes. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all then.